Did I take them all?
Where you?
Well, I brought them like. Bunch of them. I got more, if you want more. Your hat. Oh.
They farm.
I tried to wear duck stuff.
Yeah.
So be like a mayor's like, you understand around here.
That's your farm.
Right.
My sister mom.
We're looking at getting new,
Oh,
new
right
ball
there.
pits for the police department.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Binary,
we-
no,
we
yeah.
Ran out
Where
after
you
all
got
these
it on
years,
the
so the ones that they had bought into a while ago and so.
That, on off, what is it?
A friend of mine recommended this
You had
company
plenty.
called Brain. And so I've been.
Well, on off,
online
that
and
1 0 0
they
1
use that.
Okay, so what's the date?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was flying, it looks really nice.
Silence.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What is it called? Huh?
That's what they is.
I have not gone to there.
I sat on the button and saying.
Binary, you call it. What is that for? Is it Union Pacific?
Yeah.
I'll turn on the record.
Is that 2 and 8?
I'll leave this.
There you go.
Binary, octal.
No one ever reads binary. I'm just kind of curious. That's machine code.
You'd be the only one that would understand that in this environment.
Somewhat. Now, algorithms, you can talk algorithms all day. I'll talk about those. That's
So we are
fancy
live
plug.
streaming and the recording.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. Let's stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I used to hate that when I think COVID meetings going and all you could hear was like 6 different variations of different times.
Oh, my.
Okay, so with that, purpose of the session, John, do you want to talk about the purpose?
So I'll go ahead and I have a PowerPoint put up here.
Not PowerPoint, and official.
Hopefully it works. Hopefully. Yes.
You just do the Zoom sounds like they used to have with the folks when they were little. Turn the page.
Here we go. Okay, so thank you everyone for taking time out, scheduling some reserve time to talk about our goals and priorities for next fiscal year. The purpose of this goal setting session is to review kind of current state. So we'll do a high level overview of where we're at specific to the goals and priorities that were set for this current fiscal year. We'll identify the share priorities. So I did receive the surveys from everybody and I've compiled that information. We'll review desired outcomes. And also from the desired outcomes, we'll start identifying some projects for us to focus on for next fiscal year. And I can build those into our budget. Again, aligning the budget with the goals and priorities and then final direction provided to staff. So tonight, what will happen is we'll discuss, identify the goals and priorities. I will have to drop those into a resolution for adoption in March. And then we can kind of go from there and I'll start, I've already started developing the proposed budget, but this will just refine it a little bit more. Some of the documents that we'll be reviewing tonight. So the Hubbard Community Vision Action Plan, which was included in your packet. The Economic Development Strategic Plan, which we just reviewed in the last meeting. We'll discuss a little bit more on the Urban Renewal District and the different boundary options that were proposed. And then just kind of a high level discussion of the five-year financial forecast that we discussed in the last council meeting. So we'll start off with looking at the key focus areas for fiscal year 26. So many of these, actually all of these were kind of a carryover from fiscal year 25. So we had worked on the community vision action plan, and it was a community effort. We had 4 town halls, 2 surveys. And then we worked with, the council to identify goals and priorities to focus on. And fiscal year, this current fiscal year, a lot of those were just carried over because they were still work in progress. So, the key focus areas are really infrastructure and public safety, economic development, and community amenities and engagement. So as we talk through some of these things, some of the priorities and goals that council identified for this current fiscal year will just be ongoing. So I say movies in the park, that's an ongoing activity. That's just something that's gonna be permanent. So we'll move on to the next slide. So currently in progress or completed for this fiscal year as of today. Again, movies in the park ongoing, the water and wastewater projects will be ongoing. So we will not finish the water project until December 2026. That's substantial completion, and then final closeout of the project will be probably sometime January, February of 27.
You think about it, if you time it right, it'll be a good freeze when all the pipes start bursting. We'll have like a snow effect going on.
And we have contingency. No. And that's where our emergency operations plan comes in. And then the wastewater project, so we have started with some upgrades for that already. But we're really in the early design phases of all the upgrades that need to occur. We have received the $2.4 million in legislative appropriations, so that will get us into phase 1 and phase 2 of the 4 phases of the wastewater treatment plant. And so target completion date, it just depends on funding. Also, in addition, I need to back up a little bit, the water project. So we do have the drilling of well 1 that still needs to be done. I'm actively applying for grants for that, and I have a meeting with Business Oregon and some of our funders to see what our options are. I do have to say, just on a side note, so DEQ, EPA, and Senator Merkley's office, and who's the other one? DEQ. I can't remember. Oh, Business Oregon. They were very happy to hear that we raised our rates for our water and sewer. That was really contingent on them considering any other funding options as far as other grants and stuff like that. So I feel really confident that I can go to them now and say, this is going to be our rate schedule over the next several years and ongoing with the CPI, which is going to make them feel better.
Shows our residents and us have skin in the game.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly. So completed is the pickleball and tennis courts. Again, that was completed last calendar year. And then the playground equipment, it's up. They are going to be pouring concrete tomorrow, correct?
Correct.
Wow. Yeah. And so we'll be putting down the surface material and getting things cleaned up. Mid to late March will be done, but grand opening when the mayor gets back from vacation.
Kids will still.
Yeah.
We should put up a sign, mayor's on vacation, you have to move.
Right. Well, we'll probably still let them play on it. We just,
They're out there playing in the mud with the tape around.
I know that's one thing I kind of want to get mud cleaned up and stuff like that, so they're not tracking it all over the news surface.
It's looking great.
Right, I'm
Oh, it's
excited.
fantastic.
Yeah. And I didn't realize it was gonna say Ravenous Park on it.
By the way, I've gotten people that reached out to me that knows the history of the park and Mr. Rubinus and thought that was just outstanding. Because it was Rubinus Market that he ran up there, so
Mhm.
it's a nice nod.
Yeah,
almost 50 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the corner.
Yeah.
Before it was the 777, then the American Market.
Yep.
And then finally, planning for citywide cleanup day. So we actually have two. We have one in the late fall and one in the spring, and we set dumpsters out. So that's ongoing. Oh, look at that. Okay, so, I wanted to review real quick. So the community vision plan, we discussed that, a while back. Really, was kind of the foundation for the last couple of years of our goals and priorities. I do want to say I was really surprised to see the results of the survey and how consistent it was across the board for the most part.
Excellent. So I had phone calls to them saying, you better vote this way.
I was like verbatim each time. No, it was,
Mine from Joe.
well, it was
Did
really
change
nice.
every year,
To see the continuity of the vision of council and that everybody kind of has the same vision of what they want the city to look like, what we need to be focusing on, which makes it a lot easier, to be honest, for staff to be able to carry out the policy decisions.
I think that's great, because it means we're listening to you. We're internalizing it, we're listening to the residents, and for us all to be that close in sync, because I guarantee you, we do not all hang out when we leave council and talk about the next day or whatever. It's fantastic, so.
Yeah.
If you guys are, I'm too busy, I don't make it.
So, the common themes of the surveys: financial stability and expense control as much as possible, infrastructure projects and funding. So not just sewer and water, but also for our streets, and making our streets safer. Growth, adding businesses, farmers market, fresh, food, basically. And then beautification of Highway 99E and 3rd Street and 2nd Street was in there. Improved safety on Highway 99, so crosswalk, more lanes, lights. Especially, there was a reference to J or G, so one of those. And then the vehicle replacement program was the only topic where it was divided. And so I do want to talk about that a little bit when we go into talking about goals and priorities for fiscal year 27. Because I do think it is kind of split from the standpoint, I think parks can hold off, but I don't think we can with police. So having that conversation and coming up, I think I might have a plan, but we can talk about that some more for sure. Proximity to the railroad. So we have one of our main water reservoirs that's right on the railroad, as well as the fire department and us. So one train derailment could cripple our water supply and wipe out our first responders. So starting to think about what that looks like in the future, and maybe being able to leverage some sort of grant dollars or something like that through emergency management, or FEMA moving forward. So that's something to think about. And then the non-negotiables, we have to grow. We have to take care of our parks, and we have to continue with infrastructure improvements. Any comments, questions?
I completely agree on the non-negotiables. I mean, that needs to be there so people see something coming out of their tax dollars coming back to them. That's super important. And it doesn't take much to look in that cabinet and see the old water pipe in there and realize that infrastructure does age. It deteriorates, it's in the ground. We need to continue looking at that. The hard part about that is no one really sees that, right? They just see the street getting torn up. They don't necessarily see the improvements that are going in that delivers the water.
Exactly. Okay, so key focus areas for 27. So this is when our heavy lift starts. So I'm not gonna go through the economic development strategic plan or necessarily the 5-year financial forecast. We've just gone over those, but those will be reference materials as we start having these conversations. My takeaway from your participation in the survey is really we're still at kind of the top 3 priorities in looking at the comments. So I want to have some discussion now about what the priorities or focus areas are of council moving into 2027. This is just a starting spot, whatever, brainstorm, whatever you guys want.
I can kick that off. When I put in infrastructure for mine is if I look at 26 to 27, even 27 to 28, we've got big projects that are still happening. Water project for delivery is gonna still be going on this year. Maybe a well pump drill, maybe next year. But when you look at it, those investments need to continue going forward. So to me, that's just a priority. You don't start something and then just stop. It's just gonna get more expensive down the road. How do we afford it? I don't know. The wastewater delivery, the pumps, et cetera, I'm not worried about that one. The wastewater plant I am, but you've broken it into 4 phases, which means we have 4 manageable chunks that we can do as funding becomes available. So at least we're not all in the basket with just, it's all or nothing. We can improve it as the funding comes available. So that's where I was on, at least on the infrastructure side, right? We have to finish those projects. To me, it's a top priority. We just can't cut and run. Especially since people are asking, like, when will the water pressure be improved? They have seen some improvement though, just from the patching that's gone on. So that's for me. Public safety. I'm gonna put public safety on mine, but if I was to say a focus area would be, let's make sure we stabilize the department. We've grown. Let's make sure we, the good old foreman, Norman, storming, performing aspect, right? You formed, you're storming. Let's just, get it down to where everyone's happy, right? To where we're settled. I think the police department's doing fantastic. Every time I'm out walking my dog, my goodness, I walk into an officer and they're always good. Always just want to chat. And I always warn Officer Yakis, be careful of the sun, it's not his friend. Economic development to me is a big area. How we're gonna do this is TBD, but we need to do something. If we don't bring in that economic development, we'll continue just being a bedroom community where people go out instead of spending their money in here, which means their tax dollars stay in here, which means franchise fees stay in here. I'd rather keep that in here as much as possible, but how do we do that? TBD. That's what we have the urban renewal. Can we put the infrastructure on 3rd Street or 2nd Street or whatever it needs to be done to encourage development? That's the hard part. Right now, there's not a lot to encourage development to come in. Downtown literally is off the beaten path, off of 99. For the majority of people that drive through our town, they don't even know we have a 3rd Street, yet alone we even have a park and anything else on this side. Maybe even signage would help, but really, what else can we do at this point? I would love suggestions on that one. We've got some people holding on to property that just either need to develop it or let it go. I think if it was developed, we'd have a lot of progress. The other thing we could potentially do is commercial property that has not been used for commercial property. Maybe we could turn around and code enforce it, ordinance enforce it, and say, this is commercial use. You shouldn't be living in a building that's supposed to be for commercial use. I do know, John probably knows, there's buildings around town where people just live in them instead of using it for commercial purposes.
I don't know
I
that.
think driving back into town, kind of 5, we're coming up from Woodburn and going down, back to home. We got 5 commercial properties that had no business in them, that are available for, the buildings there, the front storefronts there. And, how do we bring people into those buildings?
Right.
That's the biggest question I have. I reflect back on my days when I still have connections up to Oak Ridge, and for like 5 years after I thought about moving to Oak Ridge and buying a business up there, I was getting phone calls from the city saying, well, are you still interested? We got this going, we got that going. Although I ended up deciding to stay in Hubbard, Hubbard. My family's here, etc. But yeah, for 5 years, I was getting phone calls every 6 months from somebody on the city staff saying, what can we do to get you to move to Oak Ridge? So we have some sort of similar program here. to invite people, in or keep following up on those type of things. So again, there's over across from the post office, there's a couple of buildings. Over on 99 was a couple of buildings, I counted 5 of them as I was just driving back into town this day. 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's not I mean, I know there's more. That's what I was looking at, so.
Yeah, they're scattered about.
Yeah, but
And what are the addresses?
Huh?
That's the address?
At the end, I mean, maybe, I think, I don't remember which guy came in to talk, but maybe just even a simple pamphlet that can be released out. I don't know, just an advertisement of Hubbard's a great place. Why? You have 3,500 people, average purchasing power of the, average household, average ages, what it might be, who knows? But I mean, anything that we can do to attract, individuals to see that there is people on the other side of 99E, when you turn down there, there's an entire city there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's shocking. A lot of people I talk to that I've worked with, they're like, I didn't know Harvard had a city. I thought it was just 99E, your water tower. So, I don't know. That's a big area though. Economic development, we got a great industrial park. I will say that, businesses are going in there.
Mhm.
It's vibrant. They're definitely not for a lack of, opportunity in terms of, those businesses growing. I know Sean's already been very instrumental in, code compliance, at least ordinance compliance, and how land use is supposed to be used. We're dealing with that on a couple of lots right now. And again, that just allows either develop it or take it through it, but don't just dump things on property. That's what's gonna come out of that, right? How do we best utilize the commercial district we have? We've got a great industrial, but we just do not have a very strong commercial.
And kind of going along with that, out on 99, you drive through it. I've been through Aurora many times on 99. And I recently donated blood over at one of their churches, and I actually got off of 99, and it's like a block and a half off of 99. I haven't been there in 25 years. And there's a whole lot of changes, a block and a half off of 99, so, yeah, driving through Hubbard, we got, fencing and screening and stuff like that, down on the south end where we have that new trucking yard that's in, and then we got we got this, is it UNLV, that does, production there. And, it's like a Big Ten, site, and then it's a big
Yeah.
black, screening thing. Is there something we can do to, as in signage or large screening, or maybe building painting or, fence painting that we can do to advertise Hubbard? Like out in, Mount Angel, well, is it Mount Angel or where they have the, the Norman Rockwell paintings? Is that Mount Angel?
I know what you're
No,
talking
sorry,
about. It's
sorry.
on, yeah, it's on the
Yeah.
top of the buildings, yeah.
And so in that area, they got those things going on. Is that something we can do to put on the 99 to like say, oh, look, that's a nice place to be, maybe going to pull over and look at these things, is there something similar to that we can do to advertise, just traffic up and down 99? Because I apologize, I'm sorry.
I think the second what Yanni's saying though, it goes back to just also just 99 beautification. If you were to pick to me, the sore spot for Hubbard is 99E. That entire track. There's some areas that it's like, wow, the storage area right across from the senior estates, that's the best looking area because it's got a beautiful sidewalk and grass. And then you go along and it's an open gutter again. You see our poor lamp posts out there that they, whatever reason, took the glass out of it. Now they look beat up and old and just busted. So you get the impression as you're going through town, especially when you begin to see the weeds starting to grow up again off of the gutters, that it's just.
We put a lot of work into getting those nice.
I know, and they just got.
Ropes on.
That was controlled by the state.
They were, ODOT put them in, I believe. And so-
No, actually, I think the city, that's part of the city deal and putting in that sidewalk. We paid for that. Now, we got money from ODOT to pay for that, but that was our project.
Yeah,
In the time frame that I was not on city council, they did some sort of improvement in the lighting and the globes disappeared.
Yep.
And I don't know what happened to them. I talked to one of the previous, um,
But I understood one or two got broke. I
public
think
works,
they put it back
public
in.
works, and, they don't know exactly what happened, where that disappeared at, I don't know. I was gonna mention that to you, can you come look in your warehouse?
They got a couple laying around. It's like, wonder what those were.
Yeah,
Like to see
yeah.
that.
But yeah, we can't afford as a city to do anything major along 99. I'm gonna be honest, we just don't have the money for it.
But again, you know, just, some big signage out there, 4x8 sheet of whatever, similar to what we do down Third Street. You know, we got the, where they're 24 by 40 by 18 inches or whatever we have up there. We can do something similar to that out on 99, you know, and, you know, say,
You mean like signs directing people like towards restaurants, like,
yeah,
I don't know, like food.
visit downtown
stuff like
Hubbard,
that, you know,
or,
make it fun,
you know, with,
like six.
Hubbard
Street
Hot Fest
Austin
and
or
things
something
like that. And, you
I think
know,
of the sign sitting on the G Street pole that's crooked.
I think we need some more restaurants. I think we need some fun stuff to attract people.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a perfect setup here for like, you ever been on Sixth Street in Austin?
That'd be
We
great.
can-
I know
we can
exactly.
Set up something here big time to rival that. Now they would draw in quite a few people.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any way to incentivize owners of properties to do anything with it. It seems like they just sit on it.
yeah, kind of,
Yeah, we
it's
should look
funny,
at the
you
zoning.
know, we had the Teropolis done a pretty good, you know, storefront improvement, all of their,
Yeah.
so their building is a little challenging.
Size a little.
And then down the Hubbard Inn, that looks pretty good, but, you know, there's still properties in there that could
Be
do
cleaner.
some improvement.
Now, maybe with 99E though, what I was mentioning, we don't have money this year, but I do know that in the future, 99E will probably have work done on it by ODOT. If we can try to forecast that and see what we can do to partner with them, then our dollars, every dollar we spend on that project, then is gonna go a lot further.
So I have had several conversations with ODOT about what the plan would be as far as putting sidewalks on both sides. We will not get one on the west side of 99. What will happen is that if they put in sidewalks, that actually cuts into the parking of several of the businesses, so the Burger Hut, the tattoo shop, American Market. And when that happens, state statute requires ODOT to, one, purchase the business, or two, pay for the business to relocate. So they said, we're not doing that.
Hmm.
So we did talk about potentially doing a sidewalk just all the way down on the east side. They were open to that. I think we should continue those conversations and pursue something there and get some nice lighting there, but we're still gonna have,
Which was a sticking point at the vision sessions we had. People were complaining about that side of the street.
yeah.
Cause they can't walk from, the light basically from the church down to the Burger Hut or the market. They're on the street.
Well, and I was hoping at a minimum, we could get some stormwater through there, because a lot of those businesses, their parking lots flood.
Mhm.
And they said they could not do that, given how the parking is. They can't have stormwater underneath where a parking lot is, as it breaks it down.
How did that come about, that these businesses are located in such a way where all their parking is right on the highway? I mean, that just seems like terrible planning.
Back in the day, years.
Talking
years-
back
Yeah.
1940s, 1950s.
Yeah.
It was probably half the size.
Before cars.
Yeah. If we were there, but.
They were pretty cool.
You know, I know when we're putting that, on the east side there, back in the day, they were talking about, $4 or $5 million to put in a standard, you know, sidewalk and all the improvement stuff like that. We had budgeted $1 million. They took the $1 million and ate up most of that just in the study.
Mhm.
Going, whoa, wait a minute here, you ate up all our dollars just in the study? we don't get anything on other than paper.
Yeah,
So-
they studied it and said you don't have enough money.
Yeah.
So we went back to the state, we worked with them, and we ended up, instead of putting a Cadillac sidewalk, we put in a Chevrolet sidewalk. And, that's how we got the nice lights and stuff like that down there. So there may be other options we look at, yeah, they want the nice thing that's gonna last 50 years, 75 years. But sometimes there may be less expensive options when you go to take a look at sidewalk stuff like that. So understand that there may be other options. If you work with the state, that's what we ended up having to do up here when we put in that sidewalk on the north, east side of 99.
Yeah, the problem with that sidewalk though is it's at grade and lower.
But we were working with, I think there was 5 different pieces that were different widths and depths and stuff like that. And then we had to take over a section of the property there in front of one of the mobile home lots, about 40 foot long and stuff like that as we tried to piece that thing together. So, but we did find an option that was affordable and still is working today. So.
So,
I had a question about, going back to public safety for a second. I heard we were talking, looking for police vehicles.
mhm.
How many police vehicles do we need? How many miles a year are they gonna put on them? And what kind of options do you guys have?
Well, so, there's really, I would say one that we absolutely need to replace. It's 10 years old. I don't recall how many miles that has on it.
It just has, over 96,000 miles on it.
It's ready.
Mhm. And so even though it has that amount of miles, as you know, I mean, idling adds, I mean, it's,
The death of them.
right, exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, we're just looking at like a vehicle replacement schedule for 6 vehicles. And really replacing the oldest, of course, first. But getting on some sort of cycle so that, we're keeping the police vehicles kind of new and up to date. And I'll have Chief read some stuff that he put together about why we need to. Go ahead.
Okay, you bet. Yeah, so great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Well,
Sorry, chief.
no, that's fine. No, you're great. Most police departments, would tell you that their fleet is a critical component of public safety. Obviously, it's their emergency response platform, if you will, for, to use daily under high stress, situations, just not a transportation type situation or whatever. And so, most agencies are replacing their, patrol vehicles every 3 to 5 years. Those that are established on the front line of police work versus like a, detective car or an undercover car for those departments who have bigger agencies that have those specialty type units. But for the most part, it's 3 to 5 years for a frontline patrol vehicle, also based on mileage, but also based on engine hours. As well as we mentioned, patrol vehicles idle extensively, throughout an officer shift and whatnot, whether it be, on a traffic stop or a traffic crash where they need the vehicle to continue to run, to utilize the emergency equipment for their safety and the safety of the scene and things of that nature. And so, one of the things that most departments will try and do, and that is avoid replacing vehicles only when they become unreliable, because then that's like kind of a crisis type situation. And then most of the time, if they're hanging on to those older vehicles for too long, then the recouping any sort of costs too in the resale of that vehicle dramatically reduces too. The longer that you keep it, the older that it gets, and things of that nature as well. So one thing that I did learn in some research as well is that one engine hour of idling equals 25 to 35 miles of wear. And so that kind of adds up over time. If you have a vehicle with 90,000 miles, for example, and 7,000 idle hours, that may have a wear equivalent to 200,000 miles or plus of civilian type miles.
So it's pretty extensive there. Also, another thing that we learned is having a good, robust annual vehicle replacement schedule really helps to avoid what I learned is, quote, fleet cliffs. Meaning that where you have several vehicles that are gonna age out at once, which we're kind of in that zone with the 4 vehicles that were purchased in 2020 that actually are now already 6 years old, and whatnot. So I thought that was an interesting read and viewpoint as well regarding that fleet cliffs that you kind of want to avoid going over if you can. So there's also other safety and liability factors we just wanted to highlight real quick with older patrol vehicles that are that often lack updated crash protection. They also lack modern braking systems, improved lighting integration, and also technology compatibility. One of the things I'll mention regarding the oldest vehicle in the fleet that we have, which I have to say, I like the way it drives better than the newer ones. So the 2020s, I have to tell you, I wish it didn't have the 96,000 plus and some of the mechanical problems that it has, because boy, it just zips right along and seems like a good vehicle. But one of the things
No
we-
suspension.
Right, yeah.
Sleeping.
Yeah, so there you go. When you step on it, it goes. But one of the things, like, for example, with that car, we can't even outfit it anymore with emergency lighting because the vehicle's just so old. Newer models have come out. A lot of those vendors have quit making lighting packages that would fit with inside the vehicle and stuff like that for emergency lighting and all that good stuff too. So obviously also with aging vehicles, from a risk management standpoint, proactive replacement really reduces liability, exposure to the city, to officers as well, where there could be greater injury risk. Also during, like pursuit, liability exposure and things of that nature as well. So just a few things that we wanted to highlight regarding fleet replacement.
And one of the things that I was thinking about yesterday about how, because I've looked at a vehicle replacement schedule, kind of have one in place. However, the funding mechanism is the issue. And I thought about doing a capital financing plan, very similar to what we did before. However, what I think would probably be the best model is as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year, I will know if we have any ending fund balance that we can potentially carry over. If we have like around $60,000, we can buy a vehicle and just buy it outright with that savings that we've experienced through the fiscal year. We've done pretty well with being able to cut some corners and keep things kind of stable in the general fund. We'll be stable for the next probably couple years, and then we're gonna start seeing some shifts. But through other cost saving measures, I think that would probably be the best approach in the short term until we can figure out a long-term strategy for a vehicle replacement schedule.
So your priority for next year would be replace the one that needs to be replaced, assuming budget allows.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've seen a couple of different replacement programs, models. Early on, it was like one vehicle every 2 years. So they would save a portion of the budget and put it into a separate vehicle replacement fund. So that way they would have enough money every 2 years to purchase a vehicle. So that was when I first kind of started, and it seemed to work well. It seemed to work. Dave Dryden was a chief back then, and he seemed to have it pretty well balanced. Then we moved forward and we ended up with a couple of different chiefs in the department. And then we moved into a model of leasing vehicles. And so we ended up leasing vehicles, and it was I didn't quite understand all of it. It was some sort of cost savings if we leased a vehicle and then we returned it back to the manufacturer. I don't know if they demilled it, de-policed it, or if they just sent it off to a smaller department somewhere where they needed fewer miles and stuff like that. And that seemed to work well for a short period of time. So, you know, currently, what are we looking at? Are we looking at actually buying vehicles, or are we talking about leasing them every so often? I mean, where are we at in that mix? You can give me a little more information on how we're currently dealing with our police fleet.
So it's very odd, what we did last time was considered a lease to purchase agreement. So we leased the vehicles for basically 5 years. And then once we paid them off, they became ours.
Okay.
So it was a lease to own.
Mhm.
We did get a good interest rate off of it, but again, it cost us interest.
Mhm.
And when I went back and looked at how much each vehicle was, we're still looking at about the same amount. As far as the cash value, and then we paid interest on top of it. It did extend out our payments, so it was less per fiscal year, so it didn't impact our budget with just a upfront $56,000. So that was one way that we worked through that. Yeah,
So moving forward, we're looking at actually purchasing, or are we leasing to purchase, or just purchasing?
just purchasing.
Okay.
That way we avoid the interest, and we're hoping that maybe we can negotiate a deal if we're willing to pay cash. We can get a better deal.
I know quite often we would go into the city of Salem,
Mhm.
you know, they do their fleet purchases, and we would be able to get in with them and purchase our vehicles through them. That was back when we were purchasing this vehicle every 2 years, we commonly would go in, normally with Salem, sometimes with Marion County.
Mhm.
On rare occasion, we go in with another, police department, large police department. That way we get that fleet purchase price.
Yeah, I know Chief has been looking into that with other departments as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are we looking at buying a new car every year, pretty much, so that we have a 5 to 6 year replacement at that point? We need 6 cars,
Mhm.
and if they need to be replaced in 3 to 5 or push it out to 6, that's basically a car a year, right?
Yeah.
If we don't keep growing.
Right, and then, yeah.
Well, if we keep growing, we'll need more.
But when you grow, you're gonna also have additional revenue coming in.
Yeah, no, so. I mean, so it sounds like, I mean, I like the idea of seeing if we have money at the end of the year, but we sort of need to come up with a plan to make sure we have that money at the end. It seems like that needs. Because of, I mean, all of the reasons on the safety thing, and then when you're talking vehicles. I mean, I just stopped at, I don't want to give out too much information on public, but I was at a place where somebody turned off an ambulance, and when they went to start it, the motor blew up. Like, there were literally pieces all over the ground underneath
Oh,
the
no.
ambulance. So they're like, well, I guess we're getting coverage from another area. because- And there's 2 paramedics just sort of like, we'll have to wait for somebody to come get us, maybe the next shift.
Right.
So it's like, it's the same thing with the police cars, though. That's why
Yeah.
you leave them on. That's why they idle. It's not just because you're keeping the temperature nice. It's because the motors, you need to make sure when you start it, it's gonna go, and if it's running, you know it's gonna go.
Mhm.
So it's all important. I just want to make sure that that's understood, but I just think it's something we need to prioritize personally, because we need to make sure we have safe cars, and liability starts costing a lot of money. And as soon as it comes up where, we just put it off, like, then it is a liability. So just my thoughts. That's why I think that is one that we need to just make sure we figure out. I like the idea of seeing what we have at the end of the year for projects, but I'm not sure that I feel like that's a good one, put in that category. Personally.
So this would be just for this year,
No, I get that.
and then we can budget.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, what's the budget like? I think this would be something that's.
Yeah.
Oh, stretch it out, but do we qualify, or do they have like either co-op from the manufacturers or some grants from either federal or state governments?
Yeah, so
Or-
not for vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was afraid of that.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about restaurants again.
So I'm hearing for fiscal year 26-27, right? Infrastructure, obviously, potential police vehicle,
Do we want to include streets on the infrastructure?
it would have to be. Our streets are crumbling really bad.
I feel like we haven't talked about streets since I've been on the council.
Yeah, and they're getting worse.
At all.
They are getting worse.
All water, water, water. Which is important.
That's kind of an
So are the streets.
So I'll give you a quick update. And the mayor and I were just talking about this today. So, when the city of Hubbard became part of Metro as part of the, census process, we apply for small city allotment grants, and the last 2 years, we have not received one. And the explanation that I have received is that the competition is so high with who we're competing against now, that, our projects just don't get up to that level. We relied on that small city allotment grant significantly to help with these street projects. And so, I mean, Steve and I talked, we're gonna try again, for the small city allotment grant. And Steve, I don't know if you want to speak to this a little bit? Okay.
It is a very competitive process. It is $250,000. However, you also have to pick the right project. And they're very heavy into roads, and I'm gonna use what I described before, the F Street between Third and Fourth. That is the kind of project that they will look at. Particularly when you go get pictures of it wet
After the rain.
after the rain, when it's dry, you see the giant potholes, the water going into the home. You know, it's it's a transition between commercial and residential. This fits their profile of what they like to see. On top of that, that $250,000 can be leveraged. And it's already in your code. You can do a local improvement district, which you can then, so are you familiar with LIDS? It's an opportunity to take an entire project, let's say 3 blocks, and put roads, storm, everything, sidewalks, and the whole thing. Now, what happens is the property owners share that, usually by linear feet of property. But if you have other sources of money to throw into this, they can really reduce it. And what happens is the property owner pays it off over more than 10 years, 10 to 20 years, low interest rates, goes on the property taxes. But if you can defray it, you can get significant work done. And ODOT, the other part of it is that they are also looking at full projects. They want to see the sidewalks. They want to see the gutters and the stormwater improvements, in addition to a nice road bed that their engineers can say, tent their fingers and say, yes, I agree with that. A lot of cities do not, they just throw in an application and say, here's my street, here's what it is. I think we need $250,000. The engineers know better. They know exactly what it costs. So the other part of that is we also have to have our engineer not completely design it, but block the whole thing out. So you present this package to them that looks like you have put some effort into it. You know what you want to do and how you want to do it. You got council has approved it. You've gone out and have done your work. You maybe even have some community members have said, yes, this is going to improve our property. It's going to increase value. It's going to do the kinds of things. And besides, we're tired of the potholes and not knowing where they are when the stormwater is coming. So those get approval. It's when you don't do that, they typically don't, because as Sean mentioned, the competition is huge.
Now, they did that when they did the street between A and the park, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and very unpopular, but it looks great now, but boy, hugely unpopular at the time.
So lids can be structured a lot of different, many ways.
Many ways.
Many ways.
Many.
A couple of lids we've done is where we've asked the homeowners to pay us back 10% per year over a 10-year time frame. Another one is pay us up front, pay us as you can. And then it can become a lien upon the property when it's sold. So I mean, it could be, it might be 20 years before we get the money back out of it when they sell the property. But, again, it's becomes a tax or a lien upon the property of the homeowner, again, depending upon the linear feet. And that's
That seems to be the most common way of.
per linear feet. So we've done several of those over the years, these limited improvement districts around town to spread out that cost. Yes, Hubbard's had to come up with various amounts of monies over the time, depending upon the project. But when you come to the lid, it can be structured many different ways.
Very flexible.
So just kind of a heads up on that. So it's not like one, you're not like stuck into, this, you can have many different ways of structuring that to the homeowners.
How big is a typical lid district then?
A lid can be anywhere from a block
Mhm.
to several square blocks. It can be as much as what typically you would do is you go through your town, which you already have, and you say, ha, I know these areas. Going down 7th Street down to the end where I have to go through a giant lake, before I turn on Broadacre, down Broadacres. That's an area you can say, well, here between J Street and G Street, we're going to improve this whole area between F all the way down F, for instance, and maybe around to connect before you get on 4th Street. There's a giant depressions in there. You also have some beautiful trees in there too. So those can be special because you can also not cut the trees down for that. And you can show that you're keeping your trees but also at the same time improving your gutters and stormwater and all that. There's a lot of stormwater that accumulates on 4th, 5th, and 7th Streets. Matter of fact, it just accumulates because it's flat. It should be going towards Broadacres, towards J Street, hit the county ditch and go down to Mill Creek. But that's a simple enough activity to make that work. So those are the areas of town that you start looking at for those kind of improvements, and then you block it out. What's reasonable? Because you can start looking at it and see what homes would be benefited, what property owners, what the thing is, and then move it into phases where you can do this over a period of time. Most cities will do that and phase it out. You won't do the whole city at once, as you
Be a little expensive.
it is expensive. But if you phase it out.
And a lot to manage.
Lots to manage, and then manage your grants with that to help defray the cost. Say, hey, we're giving you guys a great deal here. We're putting $250,000, $300,000 into this project. This will reduce your cost by this amount. So you sell it a little bit too along the way. But it's a matter of looking at the roads that need it the most and expanding out. And this is your core area of town. It can also very much be 3rd Street, our commercial, what I call our sisters area of Hubbard, where you want it to look like inviting a destination spot so people can come shop, moms can shop, and dad can play with the kids at the park, right? And enjoy the town. It's someplace they could go on a weekend. And you can brand it that way, to getting back to economic development. But if you have nice roads and nice town infrastructure, that does it made a difference to me when I came to your town.
So what's the cost of putting the lids in place?
The actual cost is based upon, the cost itself is minimal, okay? You already have it in your ordinances. You're already set up and ready to go. And also a reimbursement district, which would be what a developer might ask to do. So those are the kind of the two flavors of it. So it's very little cost on our part. It really is about making sure you can secure enough money ahead of time to help defray the cost. And we'll also have to pay for some engineering. So that's really your biggest out-of-pocket expense is the engineering piece.
Which we would be paying for the engineering.
Anyway, correct.
I mean, I'd be in favor of it. It's just, never popular when the homeowners are asked to chip in for something. It's the
So
lessons
this
I've
might be the segue into the urban renewal district.
Could-
Right.
Yeah,
And the thing about it is this. You set the threshold, I think, in 60% remonstrance.
Mhm.
Okay, so the homeowners get notice. lots of meetings, it's all very public and transparent. They come, they'll come before you, most will come before you for a remonstrance, and that is basically saying, no. Okay, now you can, it's set at 60%, so at 60% no, council basically says, no, okay, not this time. If it's less than that, you can say yes. Even if half of them say no, and it's based usually on the linear footage. So not by people, but by the linear footage of, some lots are gonna be 200 feet, some might have around the block. Your ordinance actually specifies and stipulates how that works.
Mhm.
So you get to make the decision as to whether it's going to move forward or not. And your decision is final. So, but the remonstrance is the part where people get to come to you and voice their opinion as to how they wish to go with it.
And so if you live on this affected area and we decide, yes, we want to do this, and you don't, it doesn't matter what you think, then if you're the homeowner, you're in it.
You're in it, along with everyone else.
Which is where it becomes unpopular.
Yeah, no
Yes.
kidding. 'Cause there will be
Yeah.
at least one.
Yeah, I hate
No matter
telling
where
people
you're
what
at.
to do with their property, but
Yeah.
at the same time, we gotta do what's right for the city.
So what we're saying is, you're not gonna do it, we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna charge you.
Exactly.
I don't like that.
Equivalently with everybody else. so.
Well, sure, of course, but still,
But of course, that's how we got sidewalks down,
yes, that's
It's
true.
I mean, if it wasn't for that, people use those sidewalks every day.
Mhm.
It really is making sure you pick the right projects initially that are gonna have high impact. You do have to go out, and it is political,
Yeah,
no one likes it. I
you
mean,
need a good salesman.
you gotta be good sales.
Yeah,
Done a couple of things over there. It's worked out well for the city and property owners, they got a nice sidewalk and it's street expansion and stuff like that.
If we decide to do it, right, and
Mhm.
it fails, then we get to 60%. Is there any cost to us other than like the engineering person? Okay. Is
Just
there
the
any
engineering.
penalties? Can we keep applying?
Oh,
Really?
absolutely,
That's
it's
right.
rolling, yeah. You can go to the next section of the city, say, oh, that area didn't work. Once you do get one in though, what I've noticed is that the other property owners are saying, if
yeah,
we did ours, you get to do yours next.
yeah,
So
how
there's
can we
some-
get in on this?
Yeah, and there's some pressure, applied. If we have to pay for it, we wanna see your section of the
And to
neighborhood.
be honest, the negative responses of the couple that I've been involved with is very low. One of the ones we did across from, Revenus Park was, nobody complained. I mean, everybody says, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And the other one that we did was, I think I think there's 10 property owners was the only one that complained that they didn't, when we evolved. And even they paid off their portion within 5 years. I mean, we didn't charge them any interest. It was just, this is how much you owe. You can, I think it was a 10-year time frame, but they get paid off in less than 10 years.
Right.
So, and they got the utility of the sidewalk and the improvements that we, and they were, so that's just, most of the property owners want, when you present them, such as out there on Seventh and, at the end of town there where got the big ponds of water and, they don't like living with that pond of water
No, they
there.
don't.
And they're looking at some way to, improve their property, city approaches them, says, hey, we've got so much money into this and we need so much money out of you to complete the project. Are you willing to do it? And vast majority of the time, they'll say, okay, yeah, if you present them some sort of payback schedule where they don't have to come with money up in front, it's over a 10-year time frame or whatever the case may be, then, then 98% of the time they're in it with you.
And to be honest, they don't even have to enter a repayment schedule. They can just say, put a lien on my house.
Yeah.
And
And when the property's sold, then that's when the city recovers its money.
How does, not to get too into the weeds on it, but how does that billing process work? Do we send them a bill like with their water bill, or is it on their property
Property
taxes? or-
taxes.
Property
Okay.
taxes.
So people don't even really see that. I mean, really,
not really.
you just pay your mortgage and it goes up $12 a month or whatever, Yeah.
Exactly.
If we tried it, pass or fail,
people to at least know that we're serious about getting the town fixed up.
Yeah.
And making it,
And they
and
may
achieve your
understand,
goals.
they may understand a little bit more of how things are paid for and what it costs. 'Cause I run into a lot of constituents who have zero idea what
Mhm.
stuff costs.
So where would be the first area, would be the question.
Well, I think, what was it, F Street?
That section at the Hubbard Inn,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's nasty.
That,
beyond bad.
that,
It's-
that or
it's-
we're up on some
or up on Seventh, right? Those are the
Those
two
two would be
areas,
first.
because I
priorities.
traverse all that.
Mm.
Those are to me the worst areas.
I
in
know when
town
I was
right now.
sitting there watching the road by Hubbard Inn, I'm like, I wonder how many cars are gonna be in that pothole at the end of this thing.
What, how many cars at the bottom of that
Yeah, that's what
bottle?
I'm saying, like, when it dries out, how many cars are you gonna find in there? It was bad.
It is bad.
If we start with that section by the Hubbard Inn, that will give us the most visibility,
Well,
because people go there a lot.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
even,
know who's gonna
even
use
just drive by.
yeah, it's gonna be expensive for me.
Who has the most linear feet, yeah.
The mayor's like,
It'll be
I'm
so
out.
The other nice thing too with current engineering, like, we'll be able to show them a picture of what this is gonna look like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
We can
Right.
3D model it out and it's gonna be like, this isn't just, you're gonna get a new road and then they're gonna cut it up again next week, like, you're gonna have this whole brand new view, it's gonna look amazing.
it's gonna look amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
And
gonna, I think it's a great plan.
How long does it take to put one of these in place, though, to even start? Is this something that's realistic in the next fiscal budget, or something we start in the next fiscal budget and then it's done after that?
no, it's,
it's realistic, yeah.
If you can get a grant or whatever for that, then it's probably 3 months, depending upon the engineering.
right.
Well, I guess that's where part of it too, we need to have a conversation about the urban renewal district. So we deferred that multiple times. I let you guys know at the last council meeting that it's sign or die for,
Right.
at the March meeting. So let's have a conversation about the urban renewal district. I did, provide the copies of what was in the staff report. The top page is the urban renewal district as it was first proposed. Council did approve to look at, a revised, reduced. And so those two options are attached here. One, has a reduced portion of the Bear Creek. And the other one has it, removed.
No, I
So the
guess-
biggest, go ahead.
I'm sorry, well, I just wanted to talk about this that you sent real quick, the property tax, the difference between having it and not having it. I mean, maybe this is my naivete feeling, but I didn't realize that the difference would be so small. I mean, especially early on. As you get later on, it increases quite a bit, but we're talking about over 10 years, $300,000 ish.
Well, yeah, the total impact though is, so on the grid model for Hubbard, it's 2.4 million for the 9% decrease over that 30 years. And it's 1.9 if you don't include Bear.
Right. I
Right.
think I was just looking at just the 10-year one, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, and that's, I only went out 10 years, but, it continues to grow.
most of us won't be here in 10 years.
It's right. Only when he's dead or retired, so. But, I mean, the maximum amount per year,
Still
you get to that 30-year mark, it's like 124,000. If you just go with the piece that doesn't include Bear Creek.
Right.
One thing I will say, if we go with a smaller boundary, we can always expand. We cannot go
We'll
with
take
a,
it out later.
we
Yeah.
can't.
Okay.
We get what we get, if we go bigger.
It's one thing I want to throw out, because we talked about it at the last one too, right? It was thrown out a $300,000 mark, right? We've gotten the street funds. We can just use that. Here's the problem. If we just use that, we can't repay it. We can move it over and use that money, But it's generated through what, the street fees and everything
Yeah,
else,
tax.
right, which won't be coming back much either. With an urban renewal district, we can loan that to ourselves. I refer to it more like a 401k loan. I'm loaning myself my money and then I'm paying it back from the district, which could pay it back. As opposed, if we just took that money and put it straight over and did a project with it, we're not getting that money back.
Right.
And we're not gonna get it back. ODOT will somehow screw it up, that the gas tax sharing is gonna change. That's just, it's whether it happens this session or the next session, the next session after that, it is going to change.
Yeah.
And the way Salem has been going is they have found ways, more and more ways to reduce whatever funds come to us, whether it's the pot tax or whether it's a gas tax. So we have to be mindful of money that we take from one bucket, move to another, how is that gonna get replenished?
And we can decide, so, well, council decides when we make that loan, how that loan is repaid. Is it accruing interest, interest-free loan? How long do we want to pay that back? I mean, it's gonna take a little while to get to that point because from an auditing perspective, they're not gonna let us do that loan until we have enough revenue to show we can pay it back. So in the resolution, when we make the loan, there will have to be a conversation. Okay, are we gonna start out small, like $5,000 a year for the first whatever? And then, you know, as the money grows, then we make larger payments until it's paid off. So there's that option.
Yeah, my takeaway from the last meeting honestly was, well, this is dead. Our budget sucks, we're going downhill, we can't do this. So I called Sean depressed.
I
It's
felt,
done.
I
It's
felt
over.
the same way, to be honest with you.
But then Sean was like, it's not that bad. Really, it's not. I'm like, you're gonna have to show some numbers.
So that's why I made the little chart.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, I left the last council meeting thinking, oh, years of work. Done.
I know there's a lot of work put into it. Yeah, I go, "Man, this thing's struggling to,
But I do agree,
at least nobody.
if we're even, look at it, is we can't use the whole Bear Creek. We're gonna need tax revenue from the Bear Creek if it ever happens to help supplement not only public works, but the police department. Another officer's gonna have to come on board for that. That's just. But at the same time, the high residential area, the apartment complexes. Keeping that, I'm assuming makes sense. But as you said, if we even went with the smaller one, we can expand it later if we feel it's needed. Do we see and I didn't look at the numbers, a huge decrease between the page 2 map and page 3 map where you drop? The,
Yeah.
Residential, high residential?
So it's really not that,
Big.
no, because, we don't know what that residential is gonna look like, so, not including it, but we're gonna be fine.
Okay, then I think it would be better than to go with the smaller one here, which is really the focus area that we want to do anyhow. Which would be the 99E corridor with 3rd Street, probably 2nd Street. What should be a commercial zone, for lack of a better term.
Right. Just a quick question about the Bear Creek area. We talk about, you know, just the way that urban rural works, where you cap it where it's at now, there's nothing there. So what's that cap at? 0? I mean, I know
They are
there's
farm-
property, but,
They're on farm deferral,
Yeah,
so we don't
so-
get anything from them.
so we would never get, if we put them in the urban renewal district now. If it ever got developed, we would not get a dime of that. Cause it would all be an increase over where we capped it today. Is that right? Am I right?
We actually get all of it.
We get
Oh,
all
it's
of
the
it,
other way around.
It's the other
Yeah.
way around,
so
Oh.
all of it goes into the urban renewal district.
Oh,
which is the concern.
yeah, that's crazy.
Kind of need that revenue.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah, it was a,
Let's let them get established and then, take it,
Well,
you know?
I think probably the best approach
Not
is,
take it, but
Well, you know what I
change the
mean.
direction of it.
You know what I mean.
reprioritize. Yeah.
so
That's a
I
better
think
word to
we
use.
would have plenty of time to do any adjustment to the boundary if we just went smaller, didn't include the Bear Creek at all. We're gonna know as soon as that is sold, and you know, the developer is gonna wanna start developing, we're gonna know.
Right,
We'll easily have a full year to amend our
sure.
boundaries.
So we can start small and expand.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if we start big, we can't
Shrink it.
shrink it.
We shoot ourselves in the foot in the process.
Right.
Yeah,
And right now, it's not any gain.
Yeah.
So we may as well
Right.
start small.
yeah, I agree.
I guess what Sean's looking for though is the direction from the council is. Council feels better about the reduced size urban renewal district that we can put in place.
Oh, definitely.
And at least start the process.
Yes, at least start. As she said, it's do or die. We've been talking about it for 2 years.
Well, and I'm running out of time because actually have to have the agency set up and budget in place for the beginning of fiscal year 27. So,
So we're winding down, we just got a few months going here.
yeah, and so I will head nod if we're good about it. I will get a resolution drafted and on the March, council meeting for approval, because I have to get that to Marion County Assessor's Office. So,
I mean, get a nod from me, but I'm sure she'll have the wrong number on it. That's why I read the wrong
Do
number.
we have to actually put this in a motion
8675.
or? Consensus?
consensus?
Consensus,
I
I
think we're
agree
good,
for
yeah.
the minimum.
The
The
smallest.
smallest one,
Yeah.
page 3.
Okay.
Which then, now if that's in place, now we have funds for Third Street that can go along with the F Street thing. And concert with a lid could actually improve a good swath of the
Mhm.
area, especially where people are concerned, where they're walking up and down to the Hubbard Inn or walking down to the park.
From Third North on that street there.
Because there's no sidewalks now,
Yeah.
besides a lake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could put a pontoon bridge in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
Water
some
feature.
are pump- inflatables.
No, because you have to chlorine.
Oh, that. Well, they're gonna be down there anyway, so.
Debbie Downer.
Maybe we can run a pipe and just run all through one test.
See how that's good thinking.
I like that. That's.
But I guess my concern would be, and the only concern I have is if we're gonna start doing lids, so, you know, the limited improvement districts. What do we expect the look and feel to be?
Mhm.
We don't have a design standard. It doesn't, you know, the older homes aren't gonna look good with modern, you know, sidewalk thing. I mean, they look fine because we have sidewalks now. But I mean, we don't have a design standard on what we want the historical part of the town to look like. Which is gonna look different than, you know, the modern side of the town. So, and that to me is a priority that we should be setting as an expense that our planning commission and city council needs to decide
Yeah,
what we
that
want
sounds
our
good.
city to look like.
A question for the planning commission first, before it comes to us, but I agree, yeah, you've got these disparate parts of town that are all built in different eras and have
No
different
common thread.
aesthetics,
Yeah.
and, you know, what works here won't necessarily work over there, but it's not really defined.
No, my house doesn't fit in at all. I mean, it just doesn't.
Yeah, yours
Like
is
the-
not.
Like a
I
weird
drove by
little
today,
Sears
and-
store. I think it came out of a Sears magazine, like that's what the story I told.
They used to have those.
Yeah, so my house was like came with a kit from Sears.
Yeah.
So,
The crazy part though is we've got a framework for it. We have a framework document that was built back in 2000, I think, 20 years ago.
Mhm.
You know, it's got a good look and feel of what the city might actually look like, but we've never done anything with it. Council never took it anywhere, so maybe bring it back into the planning commission and try to get it closed this year to have some sort of design standards put in place, or. And I know when we did our economic development thing, and we had that small group here, we had one individual who was like, I don't want anyone to tell me how to build a business, and we're like, no. That's not the point, we want to be able to have a look and feel. You know, if you go through Sisters, if you go through Mount Angel, if you go through Dundee, they all have a uniformed look and feel of what they want it to look
Right.
like,
Mhm.
and it makes a difference.
Mhm.
Independence.
Leavenworth, Washington.
Yeah, Independence is another great one, yep.
Leavenworth, Washington.
Oh, I love that place.
Just love it.
I don't wanna have to wear London hosers or whatever they are.
But I mean, even driving through Wilsonville, I mean,
Yeah.
20, 30 years ago, Wilsonville looked much different. And they
Oh,
have
yeah.
an idea, they have a design, and they have been running it through the city. It looks great.
Mhm.
We got some sidewalks that are 2 feet wide, some sidewalks that are 4 feet wide. Some sidewalks that don't exist.
That's
Not yet.
part of.
Okay, so we should become part of Oregon Main Street.
I'm working
Well,
on
we
it.
could be at the associate level, but Oregon Main Street, is an absolutely phenomenal organization that not only provides ideas, but also, I mean, on how to do just this, how to develop a
I was
theme
on their
for your
website yesterday. They got a lot of stuff on
A
there.
lot of stuff, yeah, it's extremely worthwhile.
Right, and I think that goes along with community amenities and engagement, really.
Yeah.
Or the look and feel of the town is the amenity of it.
Mhm.
The parks are part of it as well, but, I mean, I think it goes right along with the key focus area that let's just get something put in place.
Mhm.
Especially before this development kicks off here or elsewhere, what do we want the city to look like?
So we have a planning commission meeting, in March. So I will put this on the agenda just to get us started.
Good. They'll love me for that. They'll actually have a meeting.
Right. Well, we had to have one because we realized that we, haven't done the organization for this year. We need to
All right, good.
vote a chair. So just real quick on the Oregon Main Street, so, I have applied for the associate membership, so that's free. One of the things that the Main Street program does offer, and I'm trying to get Anthony Cicito involved in this, is they do offer grants to businesses for street fronts and stuff like that, to, upgrade the look and feel. Mr. Cicito has said multiple times to me, he's ready to sell, but he wants to do a few little upgrades before that happens. So I'm hoping that,
For those who don't know, Cicito's the one that owns the pharmacy next to.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
okay.
bank.
yeah,
Or it's not the bank, it used to be the bank.
The old
Yeah.
bank.
The old pharmacy, yeah.
Yeah, they'll pharmacy, okay, yeah.
It'd be a cool.
Oh, that'd be, yeah, oh my gosh. It'd be great to get
That
that
would be
thing
nice.
developed.
Yeah.
mean,
I know.
you can do so much in there.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll be honest with you guys, though, people have approached him to buy that property ever since I've lived in the city.
Yeah.
And everyone's fallen through, and he's got a very bad reputation with real estate agents, not just our own in town, but others because of the deals that have fallen through.
Mhm.
And what he wants is something for nothing. He wants the money given to him to do the improvements. And not do a like match or a grant, or a matching grant on that.
I know they went through and they did a bunch of foundation stuff.
mhm.
They took out that outside stairs. But looking in the windows, the interior needs a lot,
It's good.
a lot of work. Million.
So it'd be a beautiful building if
Hundreds of
redone,
thousands.
but honestly, the building itself is a liability. In the sense that the land is what's worth it, it's not the property, or it's not the building, that's the bad part.
You don't wanna strike a match in there.
No,
No,
no, they did
There's
one,
no
it
water.
burned down.
Yeah.
You can see it when you go in there.
yeah,
Again, that's another area where I don't know how we can encourage him to sell or develop. It kind of be a great cornerstone building to anyone that wants.
To fix it
Yeah.
up, to put in, need to put in a fire suppression system, the first thing I would do. And then develop the inside, you can do all kinds of, I'm thinking of up in front, either a dojo or back in the day when they had the computer clubs and, your gaming clubs, which is kind of passe now. But a dojo and do a sandwich shop, a pizza shop, do a destination thing
You can
there.
do a lot of
Or
things.
you do a destination restaurant where, theme it with, I'm thinking of things like, a railroad train around the top with, bears banging bells and stuff like that up on top.
Jim's ever thought about this before.
No.
Yes, I have thought a lot of that. It was the building next door I was thinking, back when it was for sale.
No, it's.
Oh, yeah,
It's just a fantastic area that could be done. And
Yeah.
again,
Well, and the
I'm on the
families.
train, I'm being excited now.
no, just see the monkey.
Yeah, Ricky's the bears, that type of stuff. and-
Salem has a horde, anyway. We know where they all are.
Yeah, but that building's cool. It's got a really cool, upstairs is actually be fun for little office buildings and stuff too, but all that to say.
Yeah.
It still
It's
takes
still
someone to
something
develop it
that-
and someone to sell it.
Yeah, somebody can afford to develop it.
Oh, for
That's
sure.
really around.
And that's all it takes to get out of a meeting. This very from the. All right,
Gotta go, no.
The one thing
I told him to text me.
Sean, one thing I think we're missing on that is, yeah, water, wastewater street, Lids, Hubbard Road, Hubbard Inn Road, urban rural smallest. You're missing the, police vehicle as a priority,
Okay,
or public, I probably just presented public safety.
Public safety.
Yeah,
No, we gotta call it police or people think we're getting a fire truck.
oh,
AKA
Police.
HDA.
Which the fire pushing ceremony is actually really cool.
I know.
I totally forgot about that too. It was after the fact, like,
Yeah,
It's
Nice
nice, a really
truck.
good time, it's
it
nice.
was pretty cool.
It's huge.
You guys are out there training with it today.
Nice.
fun.
And then I was there with, Pop Festival, just having a meeting with them, but they were having their, association meeting. So I was able to share some of the history on the Bozensky Award with the volunteer firefighters.
Nice.
And they were showing that they got it, so it was really,
That is.
that was good, I'm glad they did for that.
All right, so what else do we need to make sure we get in place? So we've talked about, I think, some key focus areas for 27. We're thinking 27, 26, 27.
Mhm.
I wish we could realign our fiscal years.
I know, right?
There's a way to do that, but
That
it's not worth it.
So this doesn't have to be final, I mean, we can talk about this some more,
Mhm.
and if you're all good with it, what I'm gonna focus on for the resolution is that are these three focus areas, if that's okay?
Yeah,
Or do you
I
want
think
me to
that's-
reword them?
What are we covering as far as engagement? Wasn't quite sure which part that is.
So that's gonna be lids.
That's where we're
That's where we'll be
engaging.
talking about all these improvement things.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
And I really feel like the engagement piece is just enhancing communications. We were talking today about, we really need to update our website and get project information out there. Our fees aren't out there.
Yeah, the website's now 9 years old, or
Yeah.
8 years old.
Mhm.
It goes quick. I remember the last time we did the update was really bad before that. But yeah, it's still hard to find anything on that darn website.
Yeah,
It's a pain just to find our own packets half the time. I know.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a challenge.
I like the social media engagement that the police department's doing. I encourage Public Works to continue doing that as well.
mhm,
I think it goes a long ways. As long as we don't get into debates online, it works well.
Yes.
I would still caution council members, elected officials to be careful with social media because you're gonna get drawn and people will draw you into an argument online
Right.
for no other reason to just try to make you look stupid or make you say something that you'll regret. That's why if someone wants to engage, and I always tell them, please come and talk to me in person. I'd love to talk to you in person or call me.
I avoid a lot of the local issues, sometimes national issues. And we don't rabbit hole on, but I still come out usually sounding better than I thought.
Yeah, just think before you type. I think that's my only recommendation.
And
Council members,
it's a really good.
There's many a letters I've written at work that I'm like, I'll come back and read it later, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna send that.
I have many posts in my time.
So real quick, so the 5-year financial forecast, we already went over that. Many of these items actually are, the cost is pretty small to the city and it's just staff time. So, I'm not as concerned about that.
So it kind of comes in kind, right? In a
Yeah.
sense, yeah.
And then considerations for council, as we start working on all these things, it's existing projects that are critical stages, we've talked about that. The funding deadlines is really associated with, our water and wastewater projects, we have deadlines to spend that money. And so I'm always gonna ask staff to prioritize their time to make sure that we're meeting those deadlines. staff capacity, we talk about the economic development piece of that. I've been doing a lot of that, so I will continue to do as much as I can with the amount of time as I have.
Well, I think when I look at staff capacity too, I mean, yes, your staff is small in that office. You guys are all right there. What if you get sick and 30% of our staff is out? But at the same, right.
They just were in trouble.
3.3% is out, yeah. But I encourage your staff, as the same as the police department, as the same as what Public Works is already doing, is where can we gain the efficiency with modern technology? Can we take minutes with Scribe, the AI tools that are out there now? Can we automate? Yeah,
She's doing it.
exactly, makes life easier. And it doesn't, so she doesn't have to sit there and spend hours reading notes and everything else.
And it knows now I'm not a Mr. Wait.
It's good. Notice you changed your candidacy.
Recognizes her.
Yeah, or Public Works, like just automating whatever we were doing for the fountain,
Yeah.
wherever we could,
Right.
automation of locks, things that we're not wasting staff time on the mundane things. We can focus on the other things, that are more important. So I think you guys are already going down that path on that. My suggestion is I just encourage it, just whatever you guys can. And by the way, I mean, I would also not be opposed to if we have to change the hours of City Hall even to stage staff time. I don't know how many people come knocking on your door at 7:30 in the morning. I really don't.
No, I think the biggest thing, if I can just interject, first thing in the morning, there's a lot of people that come knocking at the door, but we actually get until we can get a lot done without the interruptions, we get the cash receiving done and we can get things kind of going and stuff.
Right.
So that is really important, and I know that does help.
It does help. Yeah, it helps not having someone bug you,
Yeah,
I tell you.
I mean, for that point though, could we open the city hall at 8:30 and give you that full hour totally uninterrupted? Would that be-
I do know some city halls, because being in the
Then
recorder's
you guys come in
association now.
at 7:30 and then open at 8:30?
Yes, that they do use like an hour or so open,
Right.
and then they don't open city hall necessarily, they come to work,
Yeah, I used to do that.
and they work, but then they open.
The other stuff's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, also probably 30 minutes in the evening, close the doors at 5 and
Yeah.
close down actually
We're
at
doing
30.
did that.
But I mean, that's areas where I'm trying to think of staff not getting burned out as well.
Right. And that's important.
Yeah, it is.
It's but with the parks, we have to have someone there at 6 in person to do things. That means they've been there from 7 in the morning. They go home for a few hours and have to come back in again, so they have no time. And so then they get comp time, and then we wonder why there's no one, and we call over, it's because everyone's,
Now,
taking
if
their
it's
time.
opening
Yeah.
the bathrooms up, I mean, it is,
So the routine has been to get in there at 7 to open things up. In the winter time, that's not necessary.
it's too dark at
It's
7.
too dark, and this other thing, having tents, I eliminated that because you can't see at nighttime, and you
Well, it
can't
should
see
be
in the
dusk to
morning.
dawn,
Yeah,
right? Or
right,
dusk,
right.
whatever, yeah.
So an 8-hour day is more appropriate. In the summertime, when the parks pick up, it is more hectic. However, there are ways around that. Maybe I put the person in at 10 o'clock and go to 6. That way you cover your fountains and everything else. And then make sure at the very end of the day, the last thing you do is go into the restrooms and make sure that they're all ready to go, stocked for the next morning, because that's the big issue.
Clean and stocked.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
clean and
Make sure there's
stocked
no more of that.
and ready to go.
Disappearing.
Yeah, well, I know.
Different story, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, I could tell, no, public restrooms.
Isn't that why they buy the big rolls and they hang them up in the big?
Yes,
That way they can get the.
Just make it as scratchy and uncomfortable as possible.
right.
Early thin.
So those are the things I was talking to, Sean this morning about. How the schedule works.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of inefficiency, and it's because it's always been done that way.
Yeah, and by the way, that's the term I hate.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily an excuse. It's always been done that way.
You're right.
I mean, that might be the comfortable way, but there may be a more efficient way.
There may be a more efficient, and that's what I spend a lot of time. I told everyone I didn't want to, rearrange the deck chairs, right away. I just listen.
Yeah, you watch and observe,
and
that's right.
ask questions, and everyone at the moment agrees that we need to think about a change, so I challenged them. What can we do to make things more efficient?
Mhm.
That's the best way to do it.
Okay, and then urban renewal district, we already decided on, and collaboration with external stakeholders. For me, that is primarily ODOT and PGE, and Republic Services.
I'm actually been impressed. Republic Services has been a really good
They're a great
partner with the
partner.
city.
They really
You
are.
know, from participating in our events to working with us on cleanup days, et cetera.
Right.
They give us dumpsters for free on.
I know, it just,
So when's our next one? An update?
TBD.
I can't remember.
It's like,
It-
oh, it's a
It's in
springtime.
May.
Yeah, it's amazing, it's amazing, I have it on my
Yeah,
calendar.
May?
May, yeah.
Right.
Although it's still encouraging, I think having them down at Barnsey Park was better than front of Rivinus, because not everyone was just in there dumping everything.
Right.
Residents knew where it was, but
Right.
people driving through town didn't
Mhm.
necessarily know where to go.
Yeah,
I always liked the one where we could just go to the dump.
That was really cool.
yeah.
You
That
should have
was
seen the
very
stuff
nice.
people dumped.
I went a couple times. It's like, I got a lot of stuff.
I was sitting out there looking at the pile of hot tubs, and I was just like, wow, okay.
I took a toilet over there. Better place to live.
Okay, so, conclusion, we've basically talked about all this stuff, so next steps, I will bring back a resolution in March to highlight those key, focus areas, and then I'll start building the budget based on direction that we've received. I will include in my staff report, outlining, these are the projects that will be included in the budget development process, and then you guys can let me know if I've missed anything or want to expand on anything.
The only thing I would suggest is, did we still have the gentleman who dialed in online?
No.
Oh, we bored him out. That's just a public comment.
Right? So with that, yeah, I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Well, they're saying, well, you got direction from us, I think.
Yep.
I would say on the lids, from Public Works side, if you guys can start drawing up an idea of what you think would be beneficial for that F Street area to give us that grant.
Absolutely.
Let us know what we need to do. My wife can tell me later, but, ideally though, yeah, we've got a beautiful historic area that we can chunk it down into quarters. And if someone sees what's done in one area, it might be easier to get the other ones to agree that, yeah, we want to see that done as well. So use one as a great opportunity to showcase it.
Yeah, one of the things that I was thinking is, as we're doing sidewalks, doing, no matter whether it's old or new or whatever, is I like where D Street or Allen or whatever is imprinted in the cement.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The
Oh,
sidewalk.
yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
So I thought that, and some of the older part of town over, between Fifth, some of those in the older sidewalks are printed that way. And I thought that was kind of cool, where, it's right there in the sidewalk, and, so just kind of an aesthetic thing, probably wouldn't cost much more to do something like that. I don't know, your
Yeah,
finger.
we can handwrite.
My only, I guess it goes back.
So I just kind of an aesthetic thing when it comes to the sidewalks, but I'd kind of like to see.
Right, with the look and feel of Hubbard too, one thing I would maybe ask, and I don't wanna put too much pressure anywhere, but could we figure out a better way when sidewalks are being put in to make sure there's some design standards are going by? I've seen some that looks like someone mixed a bag of concrete, dumped it down, and did a horrible job of floating it, and others that are just beautiful.
Yeah,
Well, going forward, because sidewalks have to have a permit, I will be doing the
Good,
inspections.
thank you. Cause
So-
some of them, I'm just like, I feel bad for some of the homeowners that probably spend a lot of money on sidewalks like.
And I've been
crap.
talking to the construction, the contractors,
Yeah.
and making sure that they understand about compacting, the form work, the finish, and how, and I asked them, how are you going to do the finish? So, it's, what mix are you using?
Mhm.
Exactly, those,
Just quick mix in a bag.
yeah, well.
No, I've seen some pretty bad sidewalks around town.
Whack it in, so there is a process for doing concrete. I love concrete. But, you gotta do it right.
Mhm.
And you have to do all your have to make sure, we don't have the compaction, the densiometer, but there are ways of doing it that are acceptable standards to test. We've had some that were never tested. They just poured gravel in there, stomped on it, and staff said, well, that looked like it was good. No.
And it's gonna crumble.
It's gonna
Yeah.
crumble, it's gonna get
Isn't
pockets
isn't
underneath.
some sort of, you know, the ones I saw, like a box about that big, it's got a long shaft and a fluted thing at the end of the shaft, you stick it in the ground, you twist it,
Twist it, you can do
Yeah.
that, yes.
and then they give you a reading.
Give you a little reading, and what it does is tell you how dense the thing, some people don't put the right gravel in.
Right.
Yeah, got a compact.
You gotta compact it, you have to you have to have things with fines in it, so. That's something.
I'm
that
glad
I
you're gonna be
noticed.
doing that.
I noticed that right away, this summer when I came in, that it was not being done correctly. We do have construction standards.
Cause they,
It just worked.
after
just
a while, your
wasn't
gravel
being
just
followed.
starts sliding out from the sides underneath the
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
chunk of cement they threw in there that may or may not be a good mix.
no.
So-
Good, I'm glad you're on top of that.
Yeah.
That would be my only other ask, because I know we're getting ready to go back into sidewalk
Mhm.
season, and there's a few properties I'll just suggest, maybe we talk with them because they're pretty bad and crumble, but as long as we make sure that A, the property owner isn't getting taken advantage of, or B, the property owner doesn't think they can do it, but then they can't.
Right.
Turns out,
And ultimately that falls back on the city.
Mhm.
or it just looks worse than it did before.
Yeah, it kind of comes back on the city in general.
Okay, that's all I've got. So any other comments from staff, from council?
A couple of personal comments. One is for, Public Works is, I still have a slight brown tinge up there on
Oh,
You
yeah.
do. It got-
C and seven.
the town, it's not good.
Yeah.
So what we did is, I first went out to the water tanks, on Second Street to make sure that the hydrants along that section are clear, and they are, and they have good chlorine.
I mean, I'm not worried about the health of it, just.
Yeah, well,
It's just an aesthetic.
so, yeah, the aesthetics, but I do care about the health too. I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
the iron debris or whatever's in the bottom.
Yeah, it's biofilm is what it is. What you're seeing is what's called biofilm. And I think what happened was at one point, we got a slug of chlorine into the system, like
Uh-huh.
probably about 2 ppm, 3 ppm, and it just killed the biofilm. And when that happens, it sloughs off the inside of the pipes. What the remedy is flushing. So what we're gonna do is this Thursday at the deadline for the newsletters, I'll be putting in a flushing notice that we're going to the entire town. It'll be unidirectional flushing. Staff have not been flushing the way you should be. So what we'll start is with the water plant, work the 10-inch pipes down to the 8-inch pipes, down to the 6-inch pipes, and we'll all move one direction with it. So I've already outlined that to staff. We're already exercising valves. That started a couple weeks ago. That's an important part. The next cycle we'll actually be doing, we'll be isolating hydrants. We'll do a hydrologic study and close off certain valves and force the water at a higher velocity into the hydrants. The good part about that is you get higher flows, less hydrants, less water loss. But that's the direction we're in, but that's what's happening. So right now, what I'm telling staff is any complaints you have, you go out. I don't know, don't say, it's whatever. It happened last year too.
Mhm.
No, you go out, you do a low flow, on the closest hydrant, not blast it, low flow. And wait till it gets clear. I want a sample, I want a beaker test, and then we make contact directly with the homeowner. To make sure that they know that we tested it and
It's good.
and we do that, and we're gonna be flushing.
Yeah, I know mine was really bad one day. It looked like
Yeah,
someone with a
couple days.
real bad UTI or
You
super
don't-
dehydrated and took my toilet. I was like, that's gross.
It was
But
almost
ran the water through and it was
I think what
like
started it,
coffee color.
yeah.
Medium coffee,
really.
medium coffee color.
Yeah, it
I
definitely
think what
weak
happened was
coffee,
the fire department did their
Then it was
testing
tan,
down
now
there,
it's kind of a brownish yellow.
and it blasted the pipes.
Yeah.
And it dislodged it. So I think that's what precipitated it, but now the complaints are now going all the way up into the north end of town as it goes up to the main pipes.
well, just get it out in the newsletter. And again, use social media. People do use it. And
Mhm.
just broadcast it. I reshare whenever I see things pop up. So
And we monitor it as well. That's how we first learned.
Well, monitoring is a great way to, yeah,
Lydia Loop was our first. But we pieced together what happened. It was the fire department training and using it, blasted a slug of water out. And it hit, that's where the 10-inch pipe ends, is at Lydia, right there, when it goes down into that area. And then it just went north after that.
sorry.
Yeah, well,
Any other comments, Jim?
Just, again, on a personal note, you sent out that survey. I struggled with the editing of that. I don't have, 365, 360 on my computer. I finally got into some sort of default mode of editing, and then it kept, every time I hit my enter key, you give me another number bullet. So I ended up eventually writing it out and then carefully typing it in and printing it out to give you, because it just wasn't working on my computer. I don't know if there's something you need to be installed or some way I need to be trained, but it was a challenge, just trying to
Okay,
get that stuff typed in. I don't know if I'm gonna come down tomorrow during the day or whatever, go see the mayor.
If you do a survey in the future, if you want, I can show you how to use MS Forms. It's
Okay.
super easy. It's then on the website. You can type everything in and you get it all.
I
in
just,
Excel.
cause it kept giving me more bullets and I'm going, no, I don't want that. I need 3, just delete, and just hit the enter key.
Full
and I get it.
full disclosure, mine had random numbers all over it, I just didn't even care, I just put the words and let it go. So if you looked at mine.
So I'm having challenges.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
why
oh.
that's why I finally handed it in. At the desk. I knew you were in a
I didn't
meeting.
go through as much work.
Oh, you handed it in.
Oh, yeah,
Printed it up.
I eventually printed it and just brought it down. Here, I got it in. Late, but I got it in.
At least you're embracing technology. It took 3 laptops to do that. Out of curiosity, Sean brought this up earlier. I mean, if budget allows, I've actually enjoyed having this to bring and not a packet of paper. It's worked for me.
50-50.
He breaks
Well,
laptops.
they're
I haven't broken
loaners,
this one.
so these are loaners, we would get updated ones that actually.
No, I think it's a nice to have, not a must have, but
Yeah,
maybe
and
something.
I think
in a
maybe
couple
give the rest of the
years.
council members an option of using them. I don't know, but
When you said that, it makes it sound like it's a punishment. Do you hear that? Yeah.
It was kind of tough for them, drinking that brown water and all that.
I'm well papered computers. I've used computers since I was 16 years old. This one is still a challenge. These, the city has provided me a bit of challenge.
I would say, I'm just saying, it'd be a nice to have, but not a must.
Don't spend any money on.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I have a laptop. If I really wanted to have a laptop here, I would just bring my laptop because this thing's on the website.
Now, the
But
only
it's not
reason
that
you don't
important.
want to use a personal laptop is at any time they can be subpoenaed or pulled. And then you lose your personal laptop.
Even if I don't take notes on it.
If you're up there with it,
Building,
if you're up there with it,
Oh, yeah.
they can assume you're doing,
If it's on this table,
Yeah.
my phone's in my pocket. Does that count too?
they could take your
They
phone.
could.
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Thanks.
Yeah. So yes, you could bring your own personal one. If you do not do that, it's knock on wood, I've never had an ethics complaint, but it doesn't take much for someone to file one and then you lose all your electronic devices while they decide to go and investigate.
I don't know how much it costs to print all this stuff out. I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be in color, but I'm sure it's less than a computer, so.
Nice to have, but not a must have.
I'll file that either, it doesn't matter to me either way.
Okay. Other than that, any other comments from staff? Or what about staff? Any comments from staff?
No, I just appreciate all the work that you all just did. It makes our job so much easier. So thank you very much for taking the time.
Yeah, I'll regret it later when we have a lids in place. I'm making calls. But at least I know where I live.
You need to call the mayor, I don't know.
All right, if that's it, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I second that.
We have a motion, a second, I'll sit there waiting. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. And we're done.
All right.
Thank you all.
As a matter of fact.